Good evening to everyone over here. Today's speakers, Prasad Garu, Saran Kumar, and Premnath Garu, which will be joining shortly. Today's topic from our end is use of tools for sampling, analytics, documentation, reporting in the upcoming bank audits that we do in our profession. I thank today's speakers for giving on their valuable time on Sunday. Thank you very much for your good efforts for our profession. Dear members, today's speakers have a well versed with the bank audits since they are experts in Excel, use of Excel and other tools in the bank audits. So I would like to present three of them to you. First of all, I will introduce Prasad Garu. His educational qualification, BCom LLB. He's FCA, graduate CWA and DISA, pursuing advanced management program on business analytics, Indian School of Business. He's a committee member of AP State Grievance Redressal Committee on GST, AP State. He is also chairman for Indirect Tax Committee, Federation of Andhra Pradesh, FAPSI. He has experience he has served as a lead consultant on retainer basis to Andhra Pradesh commercial tax, sales tax, government of Andhra Pradesh. He is a partner in Umameshwar & Co since 2016 to 2018. He is selected as a faculty of GST under faculty identification program conducted by Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. He has audit experience in NTPC Limited, Power Grid Corporation, Electronic Corporation of India, Life Insurance Corporation of India, South Central Zone, BSNL, Andhra Pradesh Circle, performed central statutory audit of public sector banks, OBC and Andhra Bank. He represented Tobacco Board and Tobacco Association before Ministry of Commerce, Delhi, on the issues faced by the industry and presented papers. He has presented papers to the Finance Ministry representing Tobacco Association, represented before Advanced Ruling Authorities, State of Andhra Pradesh and State of Telangana, represented before AP State Tribunal on Sales Tax, Visakhapatnam and DC Appeals at Vijayawada and Tirupati. With this small introduction on A. Prasad Garu, I present him. And also before handing over to you, Saran Kumar, today's speaker, I would like to introduce, he's a MC member of Hyderabad branch and also host SICASA chairman of Hyderabad branch of SIRC of ICAI. He's a qualified chartered accountant in the year 2010, completed his diploma in the information system from ICAI. He is also certificate holder in forensic auditing and fraud detection and course on concurrent audit from ICAI. He has worked with Microsoft and Credit Suisse Bank for more than 4 years. Presently, he is a partner at T. Satyanarayan & Co. His specialization includes statutory audits, internal audits, forensic audits, transaction audit under IBC, automation of financial processes, data analytics, including reconciliation, etc. Having overall more than 10 years of experience in handling data analytics tools like MS Excel, IDEA, Power Query, etc. He has been a regular faculty of FAFD course conducted by ICAI. With this, I introduce today's speaker to the August gathering. Before start of the sessions, I would like to express our sincere thanks to the entire team of today's faculties for giving their valuable time. So, over to Sharan for your presentation.
Yeah, can I start?
Yeah, you can start, sir.
Great. Can someone please confirm whether my screen is visible for everyone? Yeah, wonderful. Yeah. So good evening, all of you. My name is Saran Kumar. I'm going to talk the tools which are required for bank audit. MS Excel plays, as you know, very vital role throughout our bank audit. I am going to touch upon most of the times the MS Excel related one. And as the title mentioned, the tools for sampling, analytics, and documentation, Excel does almost all the things. So I'm going to give you a couple of case studies throughout my course, okay, throughout my session. Let me first put this slide because I just want to intentionally keep this slide in every session so that everyone can understand the mindset of the chartered accountants. I feel this is what the mindset of the auditors before going into the bank audit. In the month of February, everyone decides that they want to do the best bank audit for the current year. And considering the same, they compile a lot of material, they compile information, they attend every seminar. I'm sure out of 300 and 400 and odd people who are attending in today's session, they might have already attended 2 to 3 bank audit already seminars in different forums. They attend every seminar and they step into the bank with this entire knowledge and information. I don't know what happened once we join into the bank. Those 3-4 days goes just like that. And again, we come on the day of signing the audit report. We sign the audit report like previous year. Okay. Again, on the last day of signing the audit report, we all realize that this year I did not do the best audit. At least next year I want to do the best audit. So that is what the mindset of 90% of the cases. Okay, I'm sure at least I have the mindset of the same. My only point is, instead of every year we are thinking we need to do the best bank audit, but again going into the bank and somehow falling into the trap of branch managers and believing whatever they say, at least break this circle this year. Okay, I wish you all will do the bank audit in a best way this year. Okay, so let us go into this. I like this slide and this quotation all the time. 80-20 approach. I feel this quote is very much required even for bank audit also. If I had 6 hours to chop down a tree, I did spend the first 4 hours sharpening the axe by Abraham Lincoln. What it says, before going and doing the audit, before going and start working on the audit, you please do your homework. If you can do the work of 80%, remaining 20% is just the work what you do once you reach the bank and start working. Okay, so majority of the cases what the auditors feel that once they step into the branch, that is what the day they count as a first day. But in my case, it's not the one. Okay, I got the branch allocation on 31st. Okay, if I'm not wrong, exactly, yeah. 30th evening, I am into the UBI panel. I got the branch allocation. On 31st itself, I called to the branch managers. I understood what are the relevant, conversation through which I can get the control of the entire branch. I have spoken with almost both the managers 15 to 20 minutes. I understood their portfolio. I got to know in the portfolio what type of more advances and so on. Based on that, I started doing the preparation of my audit planning. So again, for the audit planning, there are a lot of other documents are required. Since I am into the panel of UBI, they have given me one link through which I can download the closing circular of that particular bank. So in that circular, I found a lot of information. But majority of the cases, though we get this information, we don't open it and go through that. Once you open it and go through that, I'm sure that itself will tell you what type of audit you need to do and how much time it's going to take. Okay, so without taking much time, first let me give you a very brief introduction to the CBS environment. In the CBS environment, you have 3 servers basically: the application server, the database server, and the reporting server. Application server is basically once you go to any branch, if you want to deposit the cash or if you want to withdraw the money, the person who is sitting before the computer, he enters some information. Okay, that is what the application server, users or staff enters the information into the screens. Once they enter the information into the screen, where this information go and sits, that go and sits into the database server. Database server is into the structured data format. That means everything is into proper tabular format. Everything is into the different columns and so on, right? Then these 2 servers are not just sufficient for the CBS. Why? Because they may need to present so many reports, maybe every weekend or every fortnight or every month end or quarter end or half year end or yearly, lot of reports to the regulators like RBI. Okay, so for which there must be a application where all these reports should place automatically. Even for the management itself, they want to have many reports, so they design those reports and keep it into the reporting server. Even for the people like us, the auditors, they keep some reports and they keep in the reporting server. So as a branch statutory auditor, you will get an access to the reporting server but not to the database server. These days there is a lot of hue and cry is happening around the bank audits, and many people are giving their opinion that in next down the line 5 years we doubt whether the bank branch audit will be there or not. How is it possible? Of course that is possible. Instead, we getting the information to the reporting from the reporting server, maybe one central statutory auditor who are good with analytics, he can simply get the access to the database server. There itself he can do some 20 to 30 logical audit. Then remaining documentation probably they can appoint other people. So through that process, we can even get the access to the entire bank, that means all the branches. But at least thank God, as of now that situation is not there. So in the current year we are going to have an access to the reporting server. As you all know, these all are the major CBS banks 24 used by Central Bank of India and State Bank of India, Finacle by the Canara Bank, by Union Bank and FlexiCube and so on. Okay, so if you have a little access to this documentation through the different sessions, just go through that before entering into the bank. Right, so let us not take much time towards just loading these slides. I'm more of an Excel guy, so let us directly start playing with the data. Friends, you go to any bank, any branch, basically you need to take balance sheet, P&L, that's the first thing, and you have to have a validation control for each and every item in the balance sheet. As our focus is more towards the advances, let me focus today's session more towards the advances side, right? So let's say advances total is 180 crore. So you need to get all the base reports which can give you the total of 180 crores. Advances are basically two different types. One is in the nature of installment, the other one is in the nature of interest. So in case of interest is basically the CC, the OD and so on. In case of installment is basically the any term loan, business loan, housing loan, personal loan, whatever the loan having a nature of the installment, right? So in some of the banks, maybe in case of SBI, you have just two files. One is loan balance file we call, the other one is CCOD file. If it is a Union Bank, just one file. There is a report called A1 to A4 report having every information there. If it is a Canara Bank, sorry, if it is again the Central Bank of India, you need to just ask for two reports. One is loan balance file, the other one is CCOD file. Maybe some other CBS or some other banks, you may need to get for every type of loan a separate text file. But whatever the case it is, your data will come into the text format. So how to convert a text format file into the Excel? That is what my first job. This is what the loan balance file you are having. Okay, there is a lot of information. Basically, let me tell you, your account will have whatever the report will have, either in the fixed debit format or into the delimited format. That can be CSV format, or the delimited can be even the pipe symbol or maybe a comma or semicolon and so on. If you observe, this is a fixed bit format because after a specific number of characters, I need to break the column, right? This is what the first task I want to do. So you can open the text file, just select everything. For selection of everything, the shortcut is Ctrl+A. Along with the process, let me also type the shortcuts in the separate Excel so that you can go through that whenever I'm gonna share after the session. That's gonna be very simple. So you can just have Ctrl+A to select all. Then you have Ctrl+C to copy, right? Then you need to go to a blank Excel file. Then let's go to Control A, Control plus C. Let's go to my blank Excel, do Control V. So Control V is the shortcut to paste. Control V to paste, right? Once I pasted, can I directly start analyzing this data? No. If you observe, this is what the data I pasted. No. Why? Because this is not in the structured format. Structured format means you should identify every field separately into separate columns. So to convert this data into the separate fields, I can just go to the data tab. I can go to text to column. Then I can select the fixed width, because as I said, this data is having the fixed width format. Just go to the next. You need to break the column wherever you find is having logic. So this is the place where I need to break the column. Account number, account type, this is the customer number. Then you can just come towards the right side. This is the customer name and this is the limit. Okay, then you have the interest rate. We will see how to analyze every column once I converts everything together. Okay, so Theo balance, outstanding balance, then is there any irregularity? Is there any sanction date? And how many EMIs are due? How many EMIs are paid? Is there any overdue? What is the new IRAC condition? What is the old IRAC code? And what is the arrear condition, the very important code? And what is the currency and account maintaining branch code? Then what is the EMI amount? Then irregularity date, since when it is irregular, unrealized interest if any in case of NPA cases, what is the accrued interest, is there any stress in the account, what is the SMA code, is it part of risk assets? Okay, what is the date of the risk asset? And write-off flag, and this is write-off amount and write-off date. Okay, you can just look into this data based on your experience. You just break the columns. Let me click finish because my all columns are over. I just did nothing except I copied the data, pasted into my Excel. I went into the data. I used a text to column. Then wherever it is required, I have broken the columns, broken the data into different columns, right? Now, out of this data, can I directly take and do the analysis? Not possible, because I just did text to column. I yet to clean this data properly so that I can use the tools. So how to clean the data? That means I want only the data which is related required. Other information which is not related to me, I should delete it. So I am going to use a technique of filter. Let me delete till the heading, right? I kept from the heading, select everything, go to the home tab, format, Autofit column width so that you can see the entire data. Then again, from here, Control Shift End so that you can select the entire data, right? Then you can go to the data, give the filter. So for cleaning, data cleaning, okay, data cleansing we call. For data cleaning, we use what, delete rows till heading, very important. Then select the entire data, then apply filters, right? Go here. Now I applied the filter, right? Now what is the logic you can derive out of this? If you look into this data, account number column should have only the numbers. Other than numbers, it should not have. So what I need to do, just click the drop down of the filter, unselect everything, come to the end. So start selecting everything other than a number, right? Check it out. Yeah, till here all are numbers. From here, it is not a number at all. What I'll be doing, I'll just click OK. I selected the data, which is not at all a number, right? So from here, Control Shift End, what I need to do, this data is not required for me. I want to delete this data. So simply Control minus. Control minus is the shortcut to delete the data. So to select everything, Control plus Shift plus End to select entire data. Okay, Control minus to delete the cells. Wonderful. Since I have deleted the junk data, now you clear the filter. This is what the data which is required for me. Wonderful. Now just give the bold to the heading. Now you can start analyzing this data. Friends, every column which you get in your bank branch audit tell you some story, right? Account number is there, customer number is there. Are you getting anything into your mind? Is it giving you any analysis? Yes. Ideally, I should get one IRAC provision whenever I see the customer number and account number. What is that IRAC provision? Simple. That if any account under customer ID becomes NPA, turned into the substandard, all accounts under the same customer ID by default will be into the substandard. Okay, that means if, for example, a customer ID, okay, a customer ID is there, that fellow is having 5 accounts. One is the loan account, the other one is the CC account, the other one is the personal loan account, the other one is the housing loan account. Let's say housing loan became NPA. Maybe remaining 3 are standard. But because of the IRAC provision, the system must automatically make remaining all 3 accounts also NPA. Okay, so how I am going to do that analysis? That is what the first thing I want to talk about. What I'll be doing for that, there is a ready-made real data I have taken. Okay, this is just for the class purpose, friends. I request members, please don't look into the data and facts into the same, right? So this is a tag which talk about whether it's an NPA or standard asset. Okay, so in this case, this is a loan balance file. As I said, let me save this file, loan balance working file, right? Let me just want it to go here. Wow. So this is the loan balance working file, right? So along with this, I need to get one more file called NPA. Once you get it, you can simply have a VLOOKUP function. You can just put a tag to the NPA file. Just check it out whether each account is an NPA account or a standard asset. So that exercise I have already done here. If you look into this column, I have a tag called standard asset or NPA. I have got the product code, I got the account number, I got the product description. I removed it intentionally for some of the items. Then customer ID is there, then BOR number, class details, and so on. So what I'll be doing, I will just select this entire data. Everyone please concentrate. I will just go to the data tab. Sorry, I'll go to the insert tab. Just click the pivot table, click OK. Everyone please concentrate. Pivot table is one of the most powerful tool in the entire bank branch audit. So what is the analysis I'm trying to do? For the customer ID, I want to first know how many accounts are there. For okay, you can remove this one because one is the other ledgers basically. So for this particular customer, there are 3 accounts. For this particular customer, there is one account. For this particular customer, there are 2 accounts. What I'm going to do, right click, sort largest to smallest. For this customer, there are 9 accounts are there. That means there are 9 different types of advances are there. Okay, but you will not, you can't do any analysis out of this. What I need to do, there is a tag, right? Keep the tag into the column so that in the tag, there are 2 unique values are there, standard asset, NPA. So that these all accounts will be segregated into whether it is a NPA account or standard asset. I don't want the grand total for the time being. Let me just go to the design for the grand total. So what is the analysis you can find here? This is a standard customer ID having 9 accounts in the standard accounts category. This is the standard customer ID having 8 accounts. Let me go a little down. This is a little surprising. How a customer can have 4 accounts into the NPA category, still 1 account into the standard category. This is what I need to bother about, right? but I can't go manually because you may have hundreds of items like that. So what I'll be doing, I am going to have a small formula, but before going for the formula, let me also see the balance, how much it is available. Let's go to the net outstanding, keep it here. The advantage of this is it is giving me the total of the advances. That means how much outstanding as on 31st March of the respective financial year. Okay, you can just go here. I'm sorry, Control Shift. I can just go Control Shift Home. Yeah, otherwise you can just select this, give the comma format. If I don't get something in the comma format, I generally bother much, right? What is this? Number of accounts. This is outstanding. That's all, right? Now I'm going to write a very small formula. I'm sure in MS Excel, you all know the function called AND. What is the logic I want to tell to the Excel? Excel, please check, confirm, is it equal to 0? Is it greater than 0? Also, please check, is this also greater than 0? If both are greater than 0, then I need to bother, because that means for the same customer ID, there are NPA accounts, and for the same customer ID, there are standard assets. Enter. In this case, it's false. Copy paste. Now, I am going to put this in the if function. If this logical result is false, I don't want anything. If it is true, I need to bother, right? So I'm just giving a tag called check. If it is false, everything is fine. That means in this case, this is okay. That means I'll get okay as an answer. Just copy paste. Now I'll just have the check here. Let me have the filter. Okay. Now I just need to have a filter for the, I'm sorry. Yeah, let me have the filter. Right? I just want to have a filter for the check. Can anyone in the session maybe put in the chat box for more interactive, for making more interactive the session? Is there any analysis we can derive out of this? Of course we can. For this customer, there are 5 accounts are there. 4 are into the NPA. 1 is not into the NPA, but that is into the standard asset. So this is the one which I need to bother more. See, I found there are 25 accounts having such type. When I have taken this, and this is what actually the practical case study, guys. This is not something I cooked up for this session. In last year, in the UBI panel I was in, and we did audit, and surprisingly we found for 25 accounts where NPA and standard both type of accounts are there. Then I approached the branch manager and I asked him, sir, this is wrong. Then what he said, you know, Sharon, even you found there are many accounts in the standard category, but the entire amount is 0. Now, considering the materiality, you please ignore. That is what he said. Am I need to ignore really this one, or am I need to consider into my audit? Maybe you can, if you have a option to question and answer, you can put the answer in the chat box if it is available. In this case, am I need to ignore or am I need to consider? So before answering this, I just would like to show you the new LFR, what we are doing. Let me just go down. Okay, so this is what the new LFR last year they introduced. If you go a little down, you are not just commenting on the advances and their documents, you are also commenting on the asset classification, provisioning of advances, resolution of stressed assets. What is the first question? Has the branch identified and classified advances into standard, substandard, doubtful, loss assets through the computer system without manual intervention? Very important point. Unless you go and do the transaction testing of a particular account, how do you know that everything is happening in the computer system? If really everything is happening into the computer system, this must be categorized into the, classified into the NPA than the substandard asset. So I mentioned all the 25 accounts here as an annexure, stating that in our audit, in the data analysis, when we have done for 25 customer IDs, we found There are accounts which are in the standard asset category. However, a couple of accounts are part of the NPA. Okay. So until unless you go and do the data analysis like this, by just looking into this data, for you it is almost impossible to find this type of case studies. That is the reason tools are important. Knowing the IRAC provision is different. How to apply is very important, because if you go to any branch these days, having 300 to 500 accounts are very common. You can't take a printout, start looking into each and every row and start understanding it. That's not possible at all, right? So this is one of the stratification I always wanted to do. This stratification, I can call it as maybe stat 1. Great, right? So you can do a lot of other stratifications, right? So let's go towards right side. You can find many things. This is one thing which I would like to address. Let us go towards the app. Let us go towards little app. Before going and talking anything, I'm sure majority of the participants out of 500 people, approximately 500 people, 90% of the people already know what is the objective of the bank branch audit. However, let me just explain you by just going into by just reading these two paragraphs. Guiding principles on objective, strategy, scope, coverage of LFR for bank branch auditors. This is not the document prepared by Saran Kumar or Siva Prasad. This document prepared by the RBI. Just look into the top. You will find this is an RBI document. They are talking about this. Now let me read that scope so that you will get to know exactly what you need to focus in the bank branch audit. The overall objective of the bank branch audit should be to have transaction testing and provide inputs to the statutory central auditors on what adequacy of implementation of various policy and regulatory requirement that may include efficacy of the system and assurance functions at the branch level. That means your audit is entirely and more focused giving inputs to the statutory central auditors, because they don't go to every branch and start doing the audit, right? Central auditors for the UBI allocated just 21 branches. Okay, so that means they will not get a time, or they'll not even go into a specific branch or all the branches and do the audit. But who are giving the inputs? What is happening at the branch level? You as a bank branch auditor. So the focus of your audit must be the transaction testing and also giving very specific information to the central statutory auditors. Last time I still remember, I have even sent an email and had a conversation with the central statutory auditor about this. This may be looking small, but this is not a small thing, because if you look into the another item, let me open the this circular, this notification they are given. What is this? Automation of IRAC and provisioning process in the banks. Just start reading this. In terms of which banks were advised inter alia to have appropriate IT system in place of identification of NPA and the generation of related data or returns, both for regulatory reporting and banks' own MIS requirements. It is, however, observed that the processes for NPA identification, income recognition, provisioning, we call it as a IRAC, and the generation of related returns in many banks are not yet fully automated. Banks are still found to be resorting to manual identification of NPA and also overriding the system generated asset classification by manual intervention in the routine manner. Very important thing which we need to comment upon, which we should ask them. And also the second para will tell you what is their expectation. In order to ensure the completeness and integrity of the automated asset classification and so on, IRAC, banks are advised to put in place or upgrade their systems to conform the following guidelines latest by 30th June. For your information, 30th June 2021 is part of the audit what we are covering. That means they have given a deadline. Even if the cases of manual intervention, they must have a full automation into the system by 30th June. That means if this type of case study you are finding on 31st March, as on 31st March 2022, that means it's not just a comment we need to bother about. They are not even bothering about the automation notification, the guidance given by the RBI. This is a point we need to highlight at the central level. Okay, out of 3 branches we did the audit last year, in 1 branch we found this type of case study. Okay, so unless you go and do the text column, analyze the data into the pivot table, you may not manually identify this type of case studies, right? Let us start doing the other type of analysis. Friends, let us take the loan balance working file, right? Now, let us look into this file. What is this? This is what about, I'm sorry, not this one, LFR. This is talking about the advances, point number 5. First thing, you need to take the large advances out from your data for the analysis and the transaction testing. Let us read this. The answers to the following questions may be based on the auditor's examination of all the large advances. Large advances means those in respect of which the outstanding amount is in excess of 10% of outstanding aggregate balance of fund-based and non-fund advances of the branch, or 10 crore, whichever is less. What is the meaning of it? Let's say if a branch is having 180 crore of advances, includes fund and non-fund based. So 180 crore into 10%, 18 crore. What is the limit? 10 crore. So 10 crore and above all advances I should take out, and I should start doing the transaction audit. But where they mention about what type of audit I need to do, for all accounts above the threshold, the transaction audit are account specific details to be seen and commented, where the below threshold, the process needs to be checked and commented upon. Comments of the branch auditor on advances with significant adverse features which might need the attention to the management or central statutory auditor should be appended to the LFR. The meaning is, Mr. Saran, if you want to do, once you identify what are the large advances, for those large advances, make sure that you are doing the transaction testing. That means in the transaction, from the starting point till the end, you verify everything. But if below the threshold are there, then for each cases you can take different type of samples. Maybe for a couple of samples you need to look for the interest rate whether properly fed into the system. Maybe for some of the samples you need to cross check the pre-documentation. For some of the samples you need to look into the post documentation. For some of the samples you need to identify whether the SMA category has been taken properly. Maybe for some of the accounts you need to verify whether the stock statements and DP calculation is correct. For every account you need not to do the audit of start till the end. That's not the one. That is a very clear information given in the LFR. Large advances, do end to end. Remaining advances, you must need to have your own audit planning. Let's say out of 1,000 accounts, 1,000 advances accounts, 100 accounts, 10% is my sampling for 2 days. Out of 100 accounts, let us take 7 accounts. Let them ask to check in the system whether the interest rate properly fed or not. For some of the items, let them check the account statement and check it out, is there any diversion of funds. For some of the accounts, let them look into the documentation. For some of the accounts, let them look into the other aspects of the audit and so on. Okay, but these all you can't do it orally. You must need to have a proper working paper. That is what today's session is. The documentation where you need to, let's say, let us look into this point. Probably you can understand what is my intention. What is this? Whether in reviewal accounts the applicable interest rate is correctly fed into the system or not. If I'm not wrong, in many of the audit reports, this statement is having a standard comment. During our audit, out of the samples taken, no discrepancies found. How you will verify? Tomorrow, if you get a notice from the regulator, how you can prove that you have taken some of the samples even to verify this? Out of all the auditing standards, I'm sure analytical procedures is something very important for the bank audit, and also the documentation is very important. That is what Siva Prasad sir may highlight with his tool, how you can make the documentation properly in the any audit software. Okay, so in this case, how I do it, if you want to learn, have a look. What I'll be doing, please have a look. I'll just go to this data. This is what the account type in the sense different accounts. Let me just select this, go to the insert, click the pivot table, click OK, right? Let me just go down. Let me go towards the right side. Wonderful. Now, guys, I want to take the account type here. I also want to know how many accounts are there. Okay, it's not the sum. It must be the count, right? I also want to know what is the outstanding, right? So have a look. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is the outstanding, right? But friends, just looking into the outstanding, will it give you any analysis? No. What I'm also going to look, right click, I'm sorry, right click. Okay, otherwise just go to this, you can right click anywhere, show field list. I want to take the interest rate, because here the very important thing is interest rate. Let me also take the interest rate. You may be surprising, Saran, what is the relevance of summing the interest rate here? I don't want to sum it. I want to take the minimum interest rate for all these two accounts, and also I want to know what is the maximum interest rate. So the summarized values by max. Okay, this is basically number of accounts. This is basically outstanding. This is basically minimum rate, maximum rate, right? You will get to know, and you will have some analysis by looking into this. If you observe here, for this particular product, there are 52 advances in the branch, totaling of 5.9 crore. Out of 52 accounts, the minimum lowest rate of interest is 7.25, highest rate of interest is 7.4. Is it possible? Yes, because there may be a chance of 1% here and there difference spread because of CIBIL rating, because of the collateral, how much he is giving. There are a lot of parameters will come into the play, but you need to bother. For minimum rate, for one of the customer it is 7.25, and for other customer it is 15%. Then I'm sure there may be something wrong. Okay, just give me 1 minute. Yeah, I'm really sorry. Please confirm whether my voice is clear now.
Yes, sir, it's clear, sir.
Great. So it is giving you a lot of analysis scope. Now what I'll be doing, I will just put the spread. I will simply put maximum rate minus minimum rate. I just want to copy paste. Now I can simply put the filter. I can just look into the top spread. This I need to bother. This I need to bother. That means in all these 5 cases, right, I need to take the samples, right? Samples. This take 1 sample, take 2 samples, take 5 samples, take 1 sample, take 3 samples, right? This is what my total sample size. For 12 accounts, I decided to check the interest rate from the sanction letter, whether it has been properly fed into the system, which is correct or wrong. Why I am bothering? Because for this particular MSME loan, 9.75 is the lowest, highest is 15%, where the spread is 5.4. I find it little higher. That may be correct, but you need to know the reason, right? If branch, why I'm doing this type of analysis, if the branch manager is smart and also you want to do some favor to the customer, let's say instead of entering into the system 10%, he may enter 7%. 3% for a 5 crore, 4 crore loans, big amount. So in those cases, if I simply double click this, okay, so that I'll get all 125 accounts, I will simply put the sorting here, sort from the smallest to the largest. These are all 5 accounts. I'll take it as a sample, right? Don't take the samples which are higher, because that you need not to do it, because if a branch manager wrongly keep the higher interest rate into the CBS, customer will come in the next month and ask the question. But if branch manager put intentionally reduced amount, reduced interest rate, then that is a favor the branch manager wanted to give it to the customer. So you need to bother about. So you can simply take some 3 to 4 samples out of this data. As you all know, this is a pivot table. You just need to double click this. The entire data will come out, and that can be part of your data. And also, if you want even to make your documentation strong, let's say this, let me allocate to Mr. Siva Prasad. Just sir, don't mind sir, I'm just using your name as a sample. Staff Siva Prasad, this is Saran, maybe this is Arun, this is Saranya. Okay, this is Aruna. So that each staff I allocated some samples, or else this one also let it be Aruna. Right? This I can make it as another stratification. Now, once you do the stratification, this automatically give the question here. You need to mention specifically. Don't make a very vague comment of out of the samples verified. How I write it, out of the samples verified, number 12. That means out of total 12 samples verified, we did not find any instance where the wrong interest rate fed into the system. If it is otherwise comment, in our samples, out of 12 samples taken, there are in 2 instances where the sanction letter is saying something and system is saying different. Then you can put the annexure of that. Okay. And tomorrow, because even selecting 12 samples, tomorrow you may get a question from the regulator. Sharon, out of the 1,000 samples or 1,000 accounts, have you directly taken these 12 samples? That point of time, this particular sheet will come in the rescue. Okay, it's going to give you a lot of comfort, and regulator, whoever going to ask this question, that this is the way I can explain it to him. Though there are how many accounts? 511 accounts, but I used a methodology where the spread is more than 2%. I've taken the samples out of it. He will appreciate, because instead orally telling, I have simply randomly taken 12 samples. When you explain a scientific methodology to the regulator, to whomever you are going to get a notice tomorrow, I'm sure they will appreciate the work what you are doing, because you are not just taking the random sampling and completing your audit. You are having a proper analytical procedure for every point in the LFR for which you are correlating and giving you the comment, right? So that is one analysis I just would like to stretch upon. Okay, so I just would like to know from the coordinator till what time I can take my session.
So till 5:30, and after 5:30, Shiva Prasad sir will be taking the session, sir.
Okay, from 5:30 to 7, is it Siva Prasad sir session?
Yeah.
Yes. So I have compiled few questions. So we'll handle at 5:25, sir.
Sorry.
I have compiled few questions from the members, sir. So around 5 minutes.
Yeah, we can.
Or
No problem. Okay. Yeah, yes, I know sir. You can ask at around 5:20. Maybe 10 minutes. Yes. We can go into the question and answer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Great. Yeah. Okay, so let us start doing a couple of other little analysis. Stratification is very important for the samples. Okay, these all are having a specific comment in the LFR. But otherwise, how you can take some of the samples, let us also do the grouping in the pivot table, the very important feature. Let's go to the next. Okay, finish. What I'll be doing, let us take the, what I want to do, I want to take the outstanding balance. Okay, this is 123 crore, a very big amount. It's not just a small. Then I want to know the same outstanding year. You may surprise Mr. Saran if you keep something into the row label that comes everything one below other, but not one after other, or summarize. So I know that, okay, because row label means keeping unique values one below other. But there is a beautiful feature called group. What I'll be doing now, I want to have 1 crore as a grouping. It is very smart. It understood that there is a balance 0 and till 6 crore 95 lakh 90,000 and so on. So if I click OK, I got my stratification. Wow. Okay. So I got to know that, okay, let me also have another outstanding here. Let me also have another outstanding. Let me also have another outstanding. Why I have taken 4, you will get to know, right? So now I'll be just taking this, summarize values by sum, show values as percentage of grand total. Let this be as count as it is, show percentage of grand total. This is what the outstanding total. This is what the outstanding percentage. This is what the count accounts total. This is what the accounts percentage. Wow. What it give you the analysis? This is a like type of Pareto analysis. That means if I can do the audit of 16 accounts, I am almost covering 31% of the portfolio of the loan balance file, right? These all are my first priority to do the audit. This is what my first priority. Okay, priority 1. I need to do that entire transaction testing for this. This is what my second priority, right? This is priority 2. Okay, I want to, the meaning here is if we can do the audit of this 16 accounts, I'm sure I'm covering almost like 31%. So I may allocate this to the staff. This is priority level, this is level, and this is staff. Maybe these 10 accounts, I may keep it to the staff. Arun, probably this one, I may keep it to Sarah. Okay, so that this becomes a documentation and we can have it. Arun will simply double click this, it will come like this. So this is what staff Arun. I can just put staff Arun. If you want for Saran also everything to be kept into one single, then it's very simple. What I'll be doing, I can simply keep like this, right click. Okay, I can just keep right click. Then you can have group. I can just keep your, I want to take ending till 2 crore. I'm sorry. See, what is the meaning of it? I want to start from 0. I want to take 2 crore. I want to have a step value of 1 crore. What is the meaning of it? From 0 to 2 crore, 1 crore is a step value, but everything about 2 crore, it joined together. Let's click OK. Wow. Now check it out. Now what happened? 10 accounts greater than 2 crore each account. There are 6 accounts. Saran also can just double click this. These all are staff Saran. Okay, let them take the printout and start working on this. This is the way you can start analyzing the data, right? This is what the interest related, not required for the time being. This is what the interest related, not required for the time being. Yeah, as you all know, analytics is not just a job of explaining in 10 to 15 minutes, but it is more of a job of explaining in hours of time. Okay, so now if we go into this, okay, yeah, now this is one way of doing the analysis. Maybe the other way of doing the stratification, let's go to pivot table. What I'll be doing, go to pivot table. This time I want to take a couple of samples and also make sure that from every advanced type I want to cover one. So what I'll be doing, let us take the account type, let us take the outstanding, let us also take the outstanding one more time, one more time, one more time, right? Great. So I want to make this as a sum. Let this be sum. Let this be sum percentage. Let this be count. Let this be count percentage. Right. This is what the outstanding. I just want to make it outstanding percentage count. Right. Count percentage. Wonderful. I want to make a proper analysis of this. What I'll be doing, I'll just select this column. I'll just keep comma format with proper 0 decimals, right? Then what I want to do, I want to go to the right click. I want to have summarize, sorry, I want to sort by largest 12 so that you can see the priority. Now, what I want to do, I want to do the sample out of it. So because I will have to make sure that out of my sample, every product type is covered. So out of 125 accounts, let's take some 5 accounts. Let's take some 5 accounts. Let's take 1 account. Let's take 2 accounts. Let's take 3 accounts. 1 account. Let's take 3 accounts. 3 accounts. Let's take 2 accounts. 1 account. 1 1. Let's take 2 2 2. Let's take 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. These all are 1. And let's take 2 here. 1 1 1 1, because only 2 accounts are there. That's the reason I have taken. These all are the samples which I have taken. Maybe you can reduce somewhere so that only 50 samples you can cover. Let's take this 4 and let me take this as a 1, right? So that this is 50 samples. Let's say you have a staff of 4 people. How you can allocate randomly to all those 4 people? There is a beautiful function called choose function, right? I can have random between what 1 comma 4, because there are 4 people. I want to randomly allocate it from first staff to the 4th staff. So this is going to give randomly the number of any number between 1 to 4. So out of the people I need to select. Now, where are 4 staff? Let me give the staff name as a Siva Prasad. Let me give Saran Kumar. Let me give another staff of Arun. Let me give another staff of Srinivas. Right? Enter. Wow. Even I'm not giving the allocation of the items to the different staff, that itself has automatically taken, right? You can copy, paste special values so that the formula will disappear. If the formula doesn't disappear, whenever you refresh your Excel, these staff names will keep on changing because of the nature of the random between, right? So just copy it, paste special values so that let ask your staff to filter their respective accounts and they can start analyzing the data. This is what the samples from the regular data. This is what the raw data. So keep the raw data first, then you can keep the stratification 1 here, then you can keep the stratification 2 here, then you can keep for each respective staff how the samples you allocated. Like that, you can just start analyzing your data. Also look here, theoretical balance, outstanding balance. I'm sure you all know that, right? Theoretical balance is an ideal balance. The meaning is, if ideally client pays exactly on the due date in the system, what must be the balance? If the theoretical balance, outstanding balance is same, then what is the meaning of it? The meaning is very simple. The customer is paying on time. If the theoretical balance is more than the outstanding balance, what is the meaning of it? That means customer is paying, already paid excess than required. If the theoretical balance is less than the outstanding balance, what is the meaning of it? That means there is some irregularity, right? I can just put whether there is a irregularity or not. So irregularity, what I can do, I can simply put a function cross check, is the outstanding balance bigger than this? If as, then this minus this must be my answer, if not 0, so that I can see is there any irregularity. I want to cross check. See, always keep the columns which you inserted in the raw data in the green color so that there can be a identification later. I want to have a validation controls. What the system has given, what I calculated, whether both are same or not. Wow, absolutely same. So I can just relay this column, what they have given. Now I can have one more column. I can have one more column. This is an irregularity, right? Now what I want to have, how many EMIs are due equal to this, if at all this is having a value, divided by, I want to know what is the installment amount. This is the installment amount. This is 0. Why? Because irregularity is not at all there. Then copy and paste. Wow. Now, other than 0. Yeah. Okay, not 0, right? Other than 0. Can anyone interpret this? Can anyone interpret this 1.97? The interpretation is very simple. Ideally, I should, as on today, my balance in the books of branch must be 97,944. But I need to pay 1,31,000. Okay, but 1.97 is the EMIs. That means I have not paid approximately 2 EMIs value. That means probably what I can do, I can take another pivot table of this data. I'm just trying to take you into the next level of analytics. I can just take another pivot table. Now I can take EMIs, this one, into the rows. Then I can take the number of accounts. Let's take the accounts and let me make this as a count. Let me make this as a count. Then what I don't want the rows here like this. I want to have a grouping. What grouping I want? I want 0 to 1, right? So the maximum I want to take as 3, right? Enter. What is the meaning of it? Can anyone tell? Can anyone tell? Maybe you can analyze at your own pace. Account count. Okay, accounts count. I'm sorry, accounts count. Also, if I have the balance, that would be great. So what I'll be doing, I want to take the outstanding also here. Let's take the outstanding. Let me keep it into comma format. This is what the outstanding balance, right? What is the analysis? Simple. This must be into the SMA 0. Yes or no? That means there is some irregularity. This must be into the SMA 1. This must be into the SMA 2. This must be into your NPA data substandard. Okay. This is a way you need to cross check what the system generated SMA report. Is it matching with your regular SMA report? Why you need to bother about the SMA reporting? Let me connect the same to the LFR. If you observe carefully in the LFR, there is a comment where you need to give your comments. There is a point where the branch is following the system of classifying the accounts into the SMA 0, SMA 1, SMA 2. Whether the auditor disagrees with the branch classification of advances into standard, including SMA 0, SMA 1, SMA 2, substandard, doubtful, loss assets, the details of such advances with reason should be given. Right? Now, what you need to do with our manual analysis, we found like this, is it correct or wrong? Okay, so at least you need to bother about these two. And also, you need to more bother about this. That means there are 5 accounts. There is a serious health issue. That means there is a deficiency. Then you need to check, in this case, you know how my analysis must be. Take the account statement and cross check in the account statement whether how many times this account went into SMA 2 and came back to the standard. Then what is the meaning of it? It is a very simple thing that they are managing this account. The meaning is whenever it is into the SMA 2, on exactly after 88th day or 89th day, they are depositing the money. Maybe if you look into the account statement, they are withdrawing after 2 to 3 days, as simple as it, right? Analysis of account statement is also very important. I'm not sure whether this will be into YouTube or not, this video. If it is not into the YouTube, probably I can show some of my live data very recently in the previous bank audit in one of the, okay, everyone, probably you can even understand the folders, how I maintain. See, this is the way I keep the folders. There's a pre-audit. I'll keep all the pre-documentation, communication with the previous auditor, all other documents, all the bank circulars, any of the documentation before audit. And these all are the 3 branches. This is the post-audit. Okay, after the audit, okay, the certification of mandates, invoice, and everything. This is for every branch. Even for every branch, maybe you can just look into pre-start. If anything, you are getting the information from the branch, nothing is there. All the base files I'll keep here for your information. I will not open this file and I will not save it again. Why? Because the date modified may be one of the forensic evidence. Tomorrow, whenever I need to deal with the regulator, that this is what the data which has to match with my signature on the attendance register. That means I've taken this data on 9th April 2021 afternoon at around 12:30, right? So this is the base files I'll not touch upon. And these are the working files where based on the base files, the entire analysis I'll do in this folder. And these all are working papers and proofs, right? How quick mortality is there, why these accounts are not NPA, and annexure 1, annexure 2. You can just go into the lot of things. These all are the final reports, okay? And this is what the audit summary note. Maybe I just would like to show you one account statement. See, these all are the audit proofs. Then what I'll be doing, let's go here for this account. For this account, I'm sorry, this is not the one. I'm sorry. Yeah, not renewal of account. Not this one also. 1 second. Yes. See, there is a customer actually for this particular branch. While he's having 8 crore rupees as a limit, the DP, and outstanding is 7 crore. I started analyzing this data. I kept one column called tag. Then I just start giving my comments like the amount went into the B New Mobiles Private Limited, self other business, and so on. Then I made a small pivot table. Then I got to know that out of the withdrawals, 2.05 crore went into the B New Mobile Private Limited. This is what a clear-cut case of fund diversion. Then for his personal accounts, which are not in this bank, are 6.65 crore. He's also having other businesses where the balance went almost like 2.75 crore during the year. Then again, I started looking into this particular private limited company. Is there any relation? Then I found it, one of the director is close relative to this particular person. We are given very in detail, because if you look into the LFR, there is a place where you need to comment upon the top 5 advances out of the standard assets. Where it is, let me just.
So sorry to interrupt. Can we have the Q&A session, sir?
Yes, just 1 minute, ma'am. This is the only point I'll just cover and I'll close it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. This is such a topic. If we want to stop unless someone asks us, we will not. Okay, let me go here. 1 second. Top 5. Yeah. Here there is a comment. Comment on adverse features considered significant in top 5 standard large advances and which need management attention. That means you need to take out of the standard assets top 5 assets and you take the account statement. And in fact, we almost found this type of fund diversion in every statement. This comment, we kept it very clearly, specifically with the quantification, and also we are given the annexure. And also we sent all this analysis to the branch also. But in this particular case, RO appreciated us, because this is not just for the LFR related. They also want to have this type of analysis for those 5 accounts, because the renewal were just pending before our audit. So they just want to do the renewal based on our comments. That's all. I'm just stopping here. As I said, Excel is an ocean, analytics is an ocean. You can't just start working and complete within 1 hour or 1.5 hour time. But this is just an eye-opener session. I just want to make it so that you all can understand how important the tools are. Okay, let us open the question and answer session, ma'am, quickly for 2 to 3 minutes.
So I shared my screen. Is my screen visible to you, sir?
Yeah. Can I read the question? Sometimes the text overlaps in other columns too. How to do the text to columns in that case? I think you'll find the text overlapping into the other column only the cases of when the column width is more, then you can do column autofit. So column autofit is a feature where you can find, if I understood his question correctly, this is the one you are talking about. Sometimes the text is overlapping the other columns. then simply double click this. If you are having a values in the 10 columns, just double click this. Okay. Yeah, next question, ma'am. Yeah, next question. Borrower wise NPA and not facilities wise should be NPA to be segregated. Yeah, this is what I explained. It's not a question actually. I think he has given the information. Yeah. Can you please explain again the data analysis of one customer NPA, other standard? Sir, what I'll be doing, I'll share across this file with you. As due to the lack of time, maybe I can request Siva Prasad sir to make some light if time permits for him. Otherwise, I'll share across the file with you. You can just understand. It is a very simple pivot table. Keep the customer ID into the rows, then keep the tag that is either standard or NPA into the columns, then keep the accounts into the account count into the values, so that you can use a simple AND function and if combination. Asset classification should be system driven. That is what we understood. It is again not a question but information. You please refer the notification which I have shown you, that all the banks must make their systems automated without manual intervention by 30th June 2021. Fifth one, kindly show how to classify the accounts in Excel as standard and NPA as shown in case studies. Sir, in case of SBI, you will get another file called NPA file. Okay. Whenever you have a file called NPA, you please give a VLOOKUP to the regular file, whatever the loan balance file you have, just using a VLOOKUP function. Then whatever the cases where you find the account numbers, that means those all are the NPA accounts. Otherwise, it's standard assets. Okay. In case of UBI, in case of Union Bank of India, you are having a file called A1 A4 report having all the accounts including NPA. Okay. So, sir, can you please give the name of this report? Is it A1 A4 report or loan balancing report? If it is a SBI, we call it as a loan balance report. If it is Union Bank, we call it as a A1 A4 report. Even if it is Central Bank of India, loan balance file. Please clarify importance of choosing between transaction date vis-a-vis value date for analysis. Please also give the examples. So I think you're talking about the account statement. In the account statement, in majority of the cases, it is a transaction date and value date is same. Maybe in case of check deposited but cleared, in those cases you may find little different. But if it is, I doubt whether the number of days between transaction date and value days are so many. Generally, it is just one day. We just need to ask them what date they are considering. Then you just need to take a representation from them that for NPA classification we are using the transaction date than the value date. Okay. Can the branch give loan on the title to property? Is a dispute for can the branch give the loan on a title to a property is in dispute for partition? See, obviously your question itself is having an answer. When there is a dispute, again they'll go for legal opinion. Then if legal experts are saying it's not that much great complexity, maybe considering the other things, it is purely the other expert opinion. Okay, I'm not sure exactly it is. Are you supposed to provide your analysis including working paper to the branch and the central auditor? If so, is it in the electronic format or paper format? I'm not going to give my analysis for them, but in my analysis, in my comments in the LFR, I'm going to quantify how many samples I have taken, and if at all where adverse comments are there, I'll put into the annexure. But this entire pivot tables and everything is for me, because tomorrow if a regulator asks me a question, Mr. Saran, you said you have taken 12 samples. Could you please tell me what is the methodology you adopted to arrive these 12 samples? Yes. I think I covered all the questions. That's all. Over to you, sir. Yes. Yeah, Shiv Prasad, SIRC. Sunil, sir.
Thank you, Saran, for your extreme, in a tough time, you have given us a good feedback and a good session on the Excel and the usage of Excel and its implication on loan balancing and loan ledger, how to modify the data into from raw data to usage data for our documentation purpose while doing our audit. So I'll be looking forward for next sessions. Thank you very much for your
Sure, sir. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and it is always pleasure speaking for our own members all the time. Thank you so much, Sunil, sir.
Thank you, Arun. Sir, So Prasad sir, it's your turn for.
Yeah. Yeah, fine. So my audio is clear, right? Audio, video.
Yes,
I
sir,
just
yes, sir.
about to. Yeah, I'm about to share my screen. My screen is also visible, right?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm stopping the share. I'll share it after a little while. So that was an excellent presentation by Mr. Sharan. I know that he joined in the last minute with a very short notice of 5 minutes. So that speaks of his command over the subject and the preparedness to share both. And I thank SIRC for giving me this opportunity. As rightly said by Sharan, to share is always a pleasure. And in that process, there are two people to learn, one the speaker and the listener. So yeah, so we are seeing that how much can be done with Excel, how much can be done with data analysis, and how quickly we can wrap up those things which may take very long time otherwise. Now you see, bank audit is one intense activity in terms of the workload that we have to perform and the time at our disposal. Okay. And you are all very clear the happenings around the profession, the requirement, the emphasis over the documentation, the emphasis over the way to do the audit is increasing day by day. Okay, so it is in the interest of ourselves, it is in the interest of our profession that we have to maintain a proper documentation, and before documentation even we must have a proper way to conduct the audit. While the banks have invested crores of rupees, they have moved on to CBS, so much of tools, so much of utilities, so much of powerful techniques are still in the process of development when it comes to the professional side. Okay. No doubt, Excel had filled a huge gap. There are some other tools like Power BI, which helps us in visualization and analysis. Tableau, which also helps us in visualization and analysis. I'm also taking one such tool, and let me very clearly disclaim that there is no way that we are endorsing, or no way that we are what you call that advertising or marketing for any of these tools, be it Excel or Power BI or Tableau or anything that we are going to demonstrate. It is only to showcase that there are certain tools available with which we can simplify our workflow. That's it. So with this small note of disclaimer, I'll proceed to explain how can we conduct ourselves in an easier manner, how can we conduct our audit in an easier manner, and at the same time to take care of what is required of the audit. Okay, I'm sharing my screen, so I'll just carry forward the pattern from where Mr. Sharan had left. So with Excel we can do lot of analysis. Okay. We can pinpoint where we have to look for, and the context differs. It is not that we take one sample and that sample fits for all the cases. No, maybe for credit appraisal, the loans which were sanctioned recently are important. Maybe for disbursement, the loans that are sanctioned in the previous year and are in the disbursement phase are important. So it is not like one size fits all, not possible. We must have a sample based on the context with which for which we are doing the audit. Okay, and if you see the LFAR, maybe for the past year, maybe for the 2 years, only last year and this year, we are required to submit even the sample that was chosen. There was one question, are we required to submit the way in which we have chosen the sample? Of course not, but definitely we have to share the sample that was chosen. So therefore it becomes imperative for us to document the manner in which the samples were chosen. Why this sample? Why not any other sample? Okay. Of course your judgment is not questioned, but the process is definitely questioned. Okay, you cannot ignore the top 5 advances and say that I have picked up the sample at random. Not possible. Okay, it amounts, or it is not a way to conduct our audit. Okay, we are driven by the auditing standards which call upon, which have mandated us how to select a sample. Okay, there is a full-fledged standard. Okay, there is SA 530 on audit sampling, how to do that, and risk assessment 315, and then what are all the misstatements that were found during the course of the audit, and the corrective action that we have to give for each of such misstatements found during the course of the audit. So therefore we are guided by certain professional requirements, both from the side of the regulator, that means RBI, and also from our professional regulator ICAI. Therefore we have to conduct our working papers in such a way that one, it helps us in the audit. It is not like playing to the pavilion. Like if tomorrow regulator comes, how can we demonstrate? Of course, that is very important part, but it is not the only part. The tool or the technique that we use shall help us in reducing our workload, point number one. And it should also demonstrate tomorrow before any regulator that we did our professional job the way that it is required to be done. Okay. And when it comes to the bank audit, as I already said, it is a time-bound activity, hence an intense activity, and we have to deal with huge volume of data. Unlike in our normal practice where we will be doing some private limited or a public limited company audit, we will have some time at our disposal. So therefore, in this backdrop, how to go about this, how to do analysis, how to select our sample, how to identify the sample and all, that we can see. Okay, I'm now going to demonstrate a tool, but I'm not going to explain or give some sort of a workshop kind of a thing, but I will definitely showcase what it will help us or how it can help the profession in reaching out to the professional goals, that much. Okay, so I'm sharing the screen. Just somebody please confirm whether my the screen is shared screen is successful. Yeah. So this is how the interface looks like on this application, and this application had divided the audit into certain modules. Okay, so once you select an assignment, it will showcase certain modules. So you configure your audit, then you collect the data, that is the natural sequence. Then you proceed to analyze the analytics. What Mr. Saran had done in Excel, that they are possible here also to some extent, and some extra features are there, some features are not there, whatever. And then we go on to proceed to perform our audit in the form of assignment level procedures. If you have to go to the risk assessment, of course, may not be possible in a bank at a branch level, but certainly at a regional and a circular level. Then we go to substantial testing, then we go to record our findings, then we generate our audit reports, then we take the audit documentation, and the last step is the sign off. Of course, some other things are there, but I am not going into that. By the way, the name of the tool is Any Audit. Anyway, now I'm not concentrating on a tool as such, but I'm concentrating on the utility as such, what it gives us. Okay. So in the audit data collection, we have got a facility to upload the data. You can see here in the advances or in the loans and advances, some 2,999 data was already fed. So how I have fed this is by Excel upload facility, which is there. So you can click on the Excel upload, and it will open up, and you can upload the Excel file. It will read the Excel file and put it into advances. Okay. So therefore, conversion of your text into Excel is important. That is very, very important. So unless that is done, of course, this cannot be done. Okay, so that is a pre-rider or a preliminary requirement with which we have to go about it. And Sharon has discussed about that already. How do we convert the text to columns? By delimiting the width, or if it is a CSV file, by delimiting at comma, or if it is some PDF or some sort of a things, by some other advanced utilities of conversion into Excel. So the next step comes through analytics, where you can select your data either with this application, or you can do it in Excel and then borrow the findings over here. Okay, so I'm just taking some of the analytics. I'm going for analytics here. So loans and advances I'm taking. So I can take whole of my data. So when I load the data set, what happens is my loans and advances of this particular branch were loaded into this, and I'm able to see the whole of the advances here. Just give me a second, I'll change. What happens is Excel is a general purpose software. Excel is not designed for any one particular purpose. It is a general purpose. So you can do your audits, or engineers can use it for their engineering, students can use it for their work, or it can be used for preparation of financial statements, everything about that. But this is a specialized audit tool. Therefore, certain functions are built around the audit functions. Now I want to see the way my standard, or the way there are about 2,000 line items here. I want to see how my sanctioned amount is spread. So how can I do that is there is a descriptive stats and graphs. So I'm going into that. I want to analyze my data by sanctioned amount and I want to divide it into 10 buckets. So when I say sanctioned amount and choose to see the 10 buckets, it automatically visualizes my data without any, see, it does not require any prior technical knowledge because everybody is not supposed to equip themselves with an Excel kind of formula, VLOOKUP, RAND between. Of course, all the young generations are good to catch about that, but then it is like everything is pre-built. So what I have selected is only a sanctioned amount and it had broken the things down into 10 intervals. So you can see out of my 2100 line items, around 1900 line items are falling in this bucket with almost like 29 crore out of 30 crore, almost 50% covered here. And there are a very few cases here which are just far off, and you can see there are one account here and one account here. By the way, I have not classified the data. I have taken the whole of the advances, which means that there could be gold loans, there could be trade loans. So what if I do further, if I do some sort of a filtering first and then come to this visualization, that is a better idea. Okay, why? Because I'm now taking the whole of the portfolio. So therefore, maybe gold loans will fall here, agricultural loans may be falling here, and then few of the very other, very different kind of corporate loans may be falling here. Okay. So definitely it helps us in sampling, and the beauty is you can dig down into any of these. Like if you click on this 1914, you will go into that, or if you click on this 28, by clicking it, the 28 gets automatically popped onto the screen. Okay, and at every time, what is the filter that you have run will be appearing on the screen. So on the audit population, the loans and advances with the nature of the field with operator as value fetching 28 records, which means that, so how we have reached up to this query is visible all the time, and you can see that there are 28 items on the screen. Now, if you want to go further deep into this 28 and see the distribution, so just click on what basis you want to divide, on the rate of interest basis, outstanding amount, sanctioned amount basis. I'm clicking on sanctioned amount basis. Now it gives a distribution. It is almost even, and mostly it is skewed to the right. Okay. So this helps us in sample determination, how we have arrived at a sample. But then, as we have already discussed, maybe amount or maybe sanctioned amount is not the only criteria. Maybe I have to give a proper treatment. Like in case of staff loans, in case of gold loans, then I have to write my own query. So how to write a query? So I'm refreshing this. I'm starting the process afresh again. So I'm taking loans and advances and I'm just filtering it out all, because there are 2000. It could take a 1 to 2 seconds of time. Please bear with that. Yeah. Now I have got all of my 2100 records. Now I want to dig it into based on the scheme. So what I am saying is I'll just observe the screen. So it is always good to see the data first. Okay, you have seen Agri Gold and Swarna loan. There are two types of loan schemes running here, and yeah, you can see PM Swanidhi, another scheme. So what I am doing is I am going by Agri Gold loan, because it appears that most of the loans in this particular branch are Agri Gold loans, or maybe this is Swarna loans, or I have got one. Let me pick up a fair one. Yeah, I'm taking this PM Swanidhi. This is one particular type of a loan that they have got. So what I'm doing is I'm going and saying that where my data, so it does not require any Excel or any kind of prior technical knowledge. So it's all just alphabetical or just general English kind of a thing. Where scheme contains Swanidhi. Swan. So I'm filtering it out. So from my 2101 line items, now I am down with only 44 records. So now what are all the accounts that I am looking into are of a particular amount? Okay, now I want to visualize this part. Based on rate of interest. So my point is whether all of them are of the same rate of interest or not. Okay, maybe visually I can see all of them are of the same rate of interest. So, or I'll divide it based on the sanctioned amount. I'll divide it based on the sanctioned amount. So I want to describe it based on the sanctioned amount, divided it into 10 buckets. Now you see, most of the Swanidhi accounts are like a fixed amount loans, and all of them are in their 1 lakh or 10,000 kind of a thing. They are like self-help groups or something like that. But few are them at a lesser side, which is not a deviation. So I can gently let it go. But the question is, where is this process getting documented? How can I showcase tomorrow that I have done this job? Okay, so there is another facility available. Just I'll come to that. So let me take gold loan now as an example. I'll take gold loan as an example and I will dig deep into that. So I'm saying where the advances data contain, the scheme contains gold. So I have got 2000 records. So from my 2000 records, I have got a filter of, let me get it first. Yeah, there are around 1060 line items. Now, do you want to save this step? If you want to save this step, you can select all of them and ask the this application to save it for you. You can park them in any one of these parking areas. So I'm saying filter P is equal to 11, and I'm saying it like demo on third, or maybe Swarna loans. So automatically this step is recorded. So how I have reached up to this, that step is getting recorded. Okay. So now I have got my step recorded. So then I'm proceeding for my next filter. How I'm proceeding for my next filter? You can see, let me see the way the rate of interest is distributed. See, we got that one picture is worth 1000 of words. So if we see the rate of interest of all of this cross section, now I'm not looking the whole of the advances. I'm only looking at some scheme like gold loan or Swanidhi, whatever. So I'm seeing the visualization of the rate of interest. Yeah, clearly there are 1, 2, 3, 3 buckets. So maybe within the gold loan, these 3 could be 3 different schemes. Okay, so these 680 accounts are between 7.25 to 7.27, and whereas these are between 7.33 to 7.35, and these are between another rate of another particular range. So I'm going into these accounts because they are given at a lower rate of interest. So I'm clicking on this. I'm going into this 680 loans. So I'm gradually funneling down. I'm gradually funneling down and going step by step to see now all of my accounts are between 7.25 and 7.7. Now within this, I want to go and see how the sanctioned amount. I can see. Let me visualize based on sanctioned amount. So based on sanctioned amount, how the visualization comes. So you can see almost like between 2,14,000, there are about 666. Now I got, first I analyzed the data by loans and advances, within that by the scheme, within the scheme by the rate of interest, and within the rate of interest again by the amount. So I'm going further down into one particular silo. Okay, so let us say I'm picking up this 81 now. Maybe there is another record saved in the backdrop, so it is giving a little higher number. Okay, so what happens is I am now filtering it out, and based on this, what I can do is I can select a filter and say that where it is greater than 3 lakhs. So I'm going and saying data where my sanctioned amount is greater than 3 lakhs. I got 76 records, but 76 records is also a huge number. Okay, so I have funneled it down based on various steps. Now I want to get into a random data. Okay, because I have filtered it out based on certain filters gradually. Now I want to randomize this. So by clicking on a random, I am asking the system to pick within this. From 2000, I have funneled it down to 76. Within this 76, I want to pick up any 10% at a random. Yeah, second please. Now it had picked up, and if you go to your log, every step that we have asked the system to save, they are all automatically logged. So if you see the gold loans, the way we have filtered the Swarna loans, the way we have filtered it, each time we have gone with certain amount. So where the operator is greater than 4 lakh or 3 lakh, it had fetched certain records, 171. Out of that rate of interest, they were further filtered it down. So the way we have filtered out our sample and the way we have come to a particular sample, the process is recorded here. Okay. So this by this we can prove, or we can establish for ourselves as to how the sample is drawn. Now let me go to analysis. This analysis we can do, this kind of analysis we can even do in any other kind of Excel kind of utility also. But the thing is, what to do with this particular sample now? Okay, in the previous example also Sharan had given certain names. So I'm going by whole of the data and greater than 5 lakhs. I'm just taking another sample. $144. Okay, so this is my, let us say I'm filtering it out and then coming up to the sample. Okay, now what to do about with this, not what to do with this sample. What to do with this sample is, I'm further reducing my sample because 144 is too huge a number. Yeah, now I got some 850 or 16. Now this is my sample, let us say, because I have progressively written certain queries one after the other and I have reached up to my sample. Now what I can do is I can select some of them or all of them, and automatically my auditing tools will come on the flash on the top. So what I can do is I can either scope them to a particular checklist or a questionnaire, I can classify them, I can park them somewhere, I can put it for a risk scoring. Okay, you know, the risk assessment, we have to assess the risk that is there. That is what our auditing standard says, 315. So what kind of a risk could be there in this? So if you click on your risk score for this particular selection, it will give an option to save the risks. Like, is there a newly sanctioned account risk? Is there a sensitive industry exposure to sensitive industry risk? Is there an excessive overdraw risk? So you may put excessive overdraw risk or a sensitive industry risk and put a value of on a rating of 1 to 5. Let us say you put it as 3.5 or 4. Okay, so what we are doing is we are selecting a particular sample and then identifying them with certain risk. Okay, now one account will have multiple risks possible. Okay, an account may be sensitive industry and maybe a newly sanctioned account, and maybe at a very concentrated, because that customer ID is having multiple loan accounts. Okay, so therefore one account can have multiple risks. Okay, or one account may be more riskier on one front. All the possible combinations are possible. Okay, so what happens is based on that you can come to and select a sample. Okay, so if any particular accounts are identified with multiple ways of risk, then we identify them and put it as a high risk item. Okay, so or I can also scope them. So if you scope them, what happens is this system, this application comes ready made with all the checklists and questionnaires that are relevant for this bank audit or any particular audit. So in the case of a questionnaire, you can see there are a huge list of questionnaires like educational loan, gold loan, CCOD, secured overdraft. So what are all the audit methodologies that we have to apply in that particular area? in this particular sample, they are all ready made here. Okay, so let us say if there are newly sanctioned account risk, I may put it under appraisal because they are newly sanctioned, or if they belong to the category of SOD, secured overdrafts, I may put it as a secured overdraft. I am also allocating my work there, so I'm just putting as an example, I'm putting it as an appraisal. Okay, so who has to perform this? I'm selecting the user to perform for one, and I'm also selecting the one who has to approve. So what I'm doing, I'm picking up my sample, and I'm also mandating which questionnaire has to be applied, and to be applied by whom, and to be approved by whom. Okay, and I can also save this to action log, which I have just showcased. So this way it integrates the chain of the auditing into one. Okay, and in a limited time, it may not be possible for us to say record and then give it. All of that may not be possible. Okay, so the moment it gives us a way to provide a checklist or a questionnaire, and also to fill the who has to fill it up can also, the work allocation can also be made ready-made, and you can hit on the scope button. Now what happens is immediately it pops up if I log off and log in with that particular user to whom I have allocated, or if I am a smaller team with 2 people. So if I log off and go to my teammates login, automatically it will appear as a pending item in a substantial testing. So I'll go to the menu bar. So in the substantial testing, if you go, whatever is scoped will come and sit here as a pending item. So you see questionnaire 549 items are pending. Under checklist is 36 items are pending. So therefore there is an automatic channeling of your work into this. You see under gold loans, under bills discounted, under documentation, certain items have come and sit as pending. Okay, now I'm going into bill purchased and discounted as an example. So if you go and click on the bill purchased and discounted, what are all the bills that were discounted? That sample is appearing here. Whatever the sample that I have taken up in the earlier step and I have scoped, that will come and appear here. Okay, now in the bill discounted, there are all these questionnaires are all ready-made available, and you can also customize. So check that sufficient margin is kept while purchasing and discounting the bill. Check the immediate steps taken if the amount is not recovered. Check that if the irregular outstanding amounts are reported. Check that if the bills purchased are properly apportioned if they fall over 2 years. So here it will give us an opportunity to record our answer over here. Okay, so who has to do, who has to approve? Only those people can perform. I have logged in as admin because I'm one of the doers or approvers. I get to have a chance to record my observation here. So what I can do is I can record my observation here, or with this I will start my audit. I can say all of these steps I have done for the past half an hour as a earlier or as a planning phase. So once I'm done with my planning phase, what I can do is I can start my audit going to the branch, or if the branch gives me the data upfront, I can do it in my office. Otherwise, I have to allocate some 2-3 hours in planning the audit. So once my sampling is done, my execution of the audit starts. So what I can do is, check if the bill sent for collection from one branch to another branch are not amalgamated or not done twice. Okay, some question is there. The branch and the receiving branch, the tenders are reversed at the closing. Now I'm recording my finding here. So I'm saying give answer. It is noticed that the entries are reversed, but with a time lag of 5 days. But with a time lag of 5 days. Okay, so this is my finding on this. So I'm updating. Automatically you can see my answer gets recorded here, and the pending status of this item had turned from red to yellow. And I can also what I can also do is check if the irregular accounts are accepted, or check if the bills are not done twice, or some appraisal issue is there. So I'm recording my finding that the appraisal of the credibility of the non-fund based limit is not done properly. So this is how I am recording, or my team is recording their finding here. So what happens is, if I come and see this as an approver, immediately I tend to feel like it requires a memo to be raised. Okay, because the credibility is not appraised properly, I feel that it warrants a memo to be recorded. So I'm escalating it to a memo. So immediately I can click on a memo where it gets escalated to a memo. Okay, so I'm in my audit memo screen. I'm in my audit memo screen. In the audit memo screen, what I'm saying is, yeah, I can say as observed, because I'm already coming there. My observation is already tagged, or I can retype it. So the appraisal of credibility while sanctioning NFB is not done properly. So once I make an observation like that, I need not put it in Excel, I need not put it in Gmail, I need not put it anywhere else. I can record it here itself. That is what the application provides for. So I can straight away also pick it up and choose it to my final report. So where it is relevant to report this, maybe it is relevant to put it in LFAR under the appraisal paragraph. Shortcomings in credit appraisal. So if I click on and put it in a shortcomings in credit appraisal, automatically it gets escalated or it gets flashed into that LFAR paragraph automatically. So therefore, right from my sample selection to execution, and my execution to creating as a memo, and my memo to the next step, the chain is to put it in a report. Okay. Now what happens is one item may be relevant in 2 paragraphs of an LFAR. Okay. Like if the masters are fed properly, there is one question whether master data is properly done or not, or documentation. So deficiencies in a documentation. So maybe this particular item, that the appraisal of the credibility while sanctioning NFB is not done properly, could be relevant at my both the shortcomings and both my deficiencies also. Okay, so there are deficiencies in both the phases. So what happens is this single item will become reportable at both the LFAR or at both the final report places. So if I save them, what happens is the moment I record my finding here, it becomes accessible. So like that, I have created a lot of them. Now if I want to rank my memos based on high, low, moderate, based on their status of compliance, whether they are complied or closed, or whether the present status are they still in the closed stage or not, I can filter out. Like I want to see all the high valued, high ranked, high risk items. So I put it on high, so that it will filter out only the high risk memos. Okay, so the KYC documents are not obtained and all. Similarly, what happens is our team may be performing our audit for 2 or 3 days. They may be filling various 4 or 5 samples we have taken under each of the sections of LFAR. They will be filling a lot of checklists and questionnaires. Okay, so therefore it is a very Herculean task to compile all of them. We will be using like Excel and then sorting them. Okay, but then all of them will take a lot of time. Here what happens is, because we have tagged them ready-made to my final LFAR. If I have to type my LFAR, of course I have to type my LFAR in the banker's software, no doubt about that. But by the time I have to give there, my observations should be tagged into one place so that I can give it as an annexure in the banker's software, or I can come and see here. Okay, now I'll go to that paragraph where I have tagged my appraisals. So Control F. Shortcomings in credit appraisal. So I'm going deep into that to answer. So when I go deep into that to answer, if you see what are all the current assessment findings, yeah. So these are all the findings that are relevant to that. So whoever had given 2-3 people 2-3 days of time, all of them are automatically complied. And when you go and sit to draft your LFAR last day, what happens is all your findings are naturally escalated and prompted to the necessary step. Now, if you want to dig deep into this, just like how the accounting packages will have a drill down facility, you can also drill down into that. You can click here, go one step backward. Okay, so who issued, who raised this, or if you want to see the memo itself, click again, go back to the memo. Okay, if you have given all the element name and the subject name, even the account number, here you can click and go to the account also. Okay, but then we do not carry all the account details of the bank. It is not possible virtually. So therefore this step is not available in this particular example. Otherwise we can go. Okay, so therefore our life becomes easy, because by the time we have to draft our report, all the findings that are supposed to be given are naturally prompted, and you can see them in your audit report. So the audit report could be Ghosh and Jilani or LFAR or any other custom reports that we have to give. Now it may also so happen that they have to be posted in your LFAR annexure. Now if you see the deficiency listing in the LFAR annexure, there are multiple annexures that are given to the LFAR. Okay, almost like each paragraph of an LFAR can or potentially have one annexure. So if you go to the annexure, you can also collect various other details that are pertaining to that particular annexure. Say the annexure is on second charge not created. So what are all the instances where the second charge was not created? So if you scope them here, automatically they will come and stand as pending here. So these are all the various accounts in which the second charge was not created. So what is the type of asset, amount of charge, what are the remarks by auditor, remarks by auditee, what is the present status? You can fill this annexure. So that way it will also give an access to fill all the annexures that are relevant in your reports. It could be any report, LFR, GOST, Jilani, tax audit, whatever it is. Okay, so this way our audit becomes channelized, everything gets recorded at one place, and we will have a trackability of what is done. We can backtrack them, we can drill down from our report back to finding, back to the substantial testing, back to the original data. Okay, now last step is where we are very much constrained, or rather strained to do, is the documentation part. We'll be doing our audit, but then the real difficulty is when I have to create my whole documents. That is a very major pain area, because my documents are all spread out. I'll be collecting a lot of evidences, I'll be taking a lot of snapshots, I'll be filling up various checklists. Some of the checklists are half filled, some are not filled. Okay, so how to create one simple log of the way the audit is conducted right from start to the end? So go click on final documentation. What it does is it will generate one PDF right from start to the end. It will document the whole process. So right from engagement team who worked on this, right from the engagement team who worked on this to the last step. So you can see there is a huge 195 page document created. It's a single PDF of a test bank audit. So what it does is, so who worked on this? Engagement team. Click on that. This is engagement team who worked on this. Okay, and what are the audit populations taken? Locations, fixed deposits, advances, EMD registers, legal suits. These are all the audit populations that are worked. What are all the questionnaires that were applied in this particular audit? Go to the questionnaire section. You have applied educational loan, jewel loan, CCOD, secured overdraft. Okay, for educational loan, what are all the samples that you have picked up? So for the educational, for the jewel loans, what are all the samples that you have picked up? You just go, yeah. But these are for external confirmations. So it's a big chapter. I'll search by education. Yeah. So these are all the samples that are picked up for the selection of educational loan. So I just have recorded one NFB, right? So let me go there. Yeah. So what are all the audit findings that I have given in this particular audit? User finding report. All the audit findings that are made were already listed out. The rate of interest is, as per terms and conditions, is 8, whereas actual interest charged is only 7.5. KYC documents are not obtained. So all of my audit notes were all created and then generated into form of one particular document. Okay. Similarly, I may be using lot of analytical steps. Just we have shown how the analytics we have done to pick up a sample under gold loan. So just I want to see the way the analytics was performed. You click on the analytic log, all the queries that you have written in order to pick up your sample. If you click on that, you will go to this analytical log. So how you have shortlisted this 144, 2, 3, and on the 3 what was applied. So like that, how the restructured loan sampling is done, how the gold loan sampling is done, how the Swarna account loan sampling is done. So how the sample is done by performing which queries, you can see here on the audit population loans and advances where scheme containing gold 205 records are fetched. On that, if I have taken greater than 50,000, 166 records got fetched. Of that, if I have performed another step, it was further filtered. So this is a way in which I have picked up my sample. The way of sampling is also recorded. Okay, and lastly, what are all the reports that I have given? Let me go to LFAR. Of course, one LFAR is there in a banker's site, that is anyway there. Let me go to the report section. Under the audit reports, yeah, under the audit reports, I've got my LFR as a section. So if this is my way the LFR is generated here, LFR 2021. And if these questions have got any of my user finding, those user findings are all listed there. So shortcoming in credit appraisal, what are all the findings that are tagged to this particular LFR? They are all ready-madely presented here. So I have not written any of these. What this application does is it will provide a way to document our audit right from conceptualization to the completion. So your audit findings will get tagged to your LFAR or whatever the final reports, Ghosh and Jilani, that you have to give. So your audit will be performed in a meticulous manner. So disbursement against the terms and conditions, what are all the negative findings that we have found, and who had found it, given by whom, what is the date of the observation, the present status. Okay, everything will get recorded in one place. And moreover, this PDF is a navigable PDF in a terms. It had got the hyperlinks where you can move from one step to the other. Okay. Similarly, when we go to a bank audit, there could be a lot of work done by other auditors or experts. By the time we step into the bank, there could be some work done by internal auditor, concurrent auditor, RBI inspection, or some head office inspection kind of a thing. Where are we recording all of those findings? This becomes very imperative. See, what happens is if an account is already flashed as containing some deviation, so that we have to imperatively consider them in our audit. So if you click on work of other auditors or experts, it will take us to the if I go to my inspection reports, inspection remark report, yeah. So these are the various works done by others. So the concurrent auditor in the January report in page 22, he had recorded that it is noticed that KYC reports are not reported. In the head office inspection page 40, the frequency of unit inspection needs to be increased. That is observation made by the head office. In the concurrent audit of March 2022, it was noticed that the registered mortgage is not adequately stamped. So these are all the remarks given by other agencies or other experts. How do we document that? Okay, we have documented that. Then what is our corresponding action? What is our corresponding action? If you go to the application, at every step, like if you go to FBO or if you go to some other findings by others. So these are all the document mortgage not adequately stamped, which I have just had showcased. So if you click on that, what it gives an option is, you can either consider them as complied, or you can either convert it into a memo of your own. So if you go here and click and proceed and convert them into a memo, it will get escalated as a memo of your own. Okay, so the concurrent auditor observation, doc 1, the registered mortgage is not adequately stamped, had been converted it into your memo. Okay, so it gives a way to identify the findings that are made by others, like concurrent audit, head office and all, and give a corrective action or a prompt action that we considered at our end. So we may be either putting an MOC, or we may be either reporting it in LFR or Ghosh or Jilani or in the annexures there too, or we may be considering it while considering our audit opinion or certificates. Okay, so therefore it is a tool which had got the capabilities to perform on an end-to-end basis the collection and analysis And after the analysis, the next most important step is to scope. To scope them into the audit particular checklist or a questionnaire or an annexure kind of a thing. Okay, so it comes pre-configured. If you see the configuration, it comes pre-configured with a lot of checklists that we may use, lot of questionnaires, lot of annexures and reports that are of use in case of a bank audit. So if you go to this configuration, I am under configuration, which we will be doing at a planning stage. If you go there in the annexures, you can see lot of annexures that are all relevant for the bank audit, like application form not found, supporting documents not on record, benchmark ratios not met, application not filed correctly. So all possible conceivable mistakes that are possible around LFAR were all already identified and put them into annexures. So our only job is, when we find any such observation, we have to tag them to that particular annexure. Okay, let us say I'm going into my data collection one more time. So I'm going into my data collection one more time. So I'm selecting these 2 or 3. I can scope them to see the options where you can scope. If you want to perform a test, like I want to perform the questionnaire, and the questionnaire is CCOD advances questionnaire. So if you want to perform a questionnaire, you can select a questionnaire. But you are sure that there is a mistake already found out, then there is no point in going about performing any questionnaire. I'm sure that it must be reported in an annexure. I'm sure that it must be reported in an annexure. Then in which case, what I can do is I can straight away select the annexure itself. So I can say these 2 things, 2 and 3 shall be put in annexure number. So if you go to annexure, all the annexures that are there for LFR will come. In this particular, the MODT documents are missing. So you can straight away put it to this particular annexure. So which gets reported in that annexure automatically. Okay. And while we put it in that annexure, we may have to collect some more data. Like if it is missing of MODT documents, what is the document that is supposed to be there? What is not collected? What are the remarks of the auditor and the auditee? So those additional columns may be filled in. So who has to fill that additional column? I may mark my doer and an approver. So therefore, almost you can perform a remote audit where the one who plans the audit, one who configures and does the audit, one who strategizes the audit is one, and the one who performs could be our staff. And we can have a 100% visibility of the way it is performed. Okay. Similarly, what are the works of other auditors or experts you want to consider? Like I want to consider concurrent audit, head office, revenue leakage, FEMA, legal audit and all. Because it is a very intense and a time-bound activity, we have to be ready with the tool. Okay. So that what happens is our staff or ourselves, we will be very spot on when we go there. We will simply put our observations in that particular column, and at every right click, you have a chance to escalate it to the next step until the final report. And in the final report, you will have a way to see all the observations that are tagged, so that you can ready-madely give your LFR in no time. Okay. And needless to say, the documentation part. So if you go to the documentation part, your document is ready in 1 second. Just click on the document button, it will generate the documentation. Which you can preserve and which we can satisfy for all the peer review or quality review or whatever the other regulatory mechanisms that we have to face. Okay, so this is some extension to what Mr. Saran had shared, and you may do your preliminary analytics in Excel and come with your sample. Select the sample here like this, like these advances. Okay, like account number 14, 15 or 18, you can select your sample here because the sample is already selected in Excel, or you can go to your analytics which is available in this particular application and use that. That is absolutely our choice, no hardbound rules and all. And of course in Excel, unlimited possibilities, VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, and you can write your own formulas. Here much of the analytics are whatever the common analytics that we get to use, they're all pre-configured so that we can use them with ease without any technical knowledge of the formula that runs behind. That is the only advantage. Okay, anyway, apart from analytics, what I stress upon more is that having chosen a sample, what to do. Okay, so if you go to a questionnaire, all the questionnaires are having the relevant questions that are to be posed. So if you go to substantial testing, all the questionnaires that we have sampled out are visible here. So you can go to the questionnaire section. In the questionnaire section, jewel loan, gold loan, consortium banking, documentation. If you go to documentation, what are all the questions that we have to, or we are supposed to consider while doing the questionnaire, while doing the verification of documentation, are all pre-built. Okay, so this is the population from advances. This is a sample of advances which we have taken as our sample for verification of documentation. If you click on that, the exact questions that we have to ask, the exact questions that we have to fill are ready-made. Whether the documentation as per sanction letter obtained, loan proposal indicating projections, title deeds, mortgage, SIRC report. So you can see there are like 15 or 20 questions that we have to fill. So therefore there is no chance of missing out on any particular question. Okay, all of these are on this particular sample. Okay, so therefore it is not that we do a good audit, but then we must be in a position to demonstrate that a good audit is done. Okay, because we are seeing the way how radical the things are changing around the particular audit and all. So therefore we have to build enough of quality into our audit processes. So this is one particular tool. Again, I'm repeating the disclaimer, no sort of endorsements or some sort of that, but then definitely I've seen that it is helpful, useful. I'm also doing it, using it, so therefore I'm just putting it for in front of all of us. Okay, yeah, that's a limited presentation I have got on this particular usage of a tool. Okay, let me stop the screen share for some time. Any particular questionnaire you have got, I'll be answering.
Yes, sir. I just compiled it.
Okay, good.
We have 2 questions here, so I will share my screen, sir. Is my screen visible to you, sir?
Whether SBI will allow use of any audit software, will they share the account data? Yeah. See, the thing is, I'm not very particular. I'm not particularly aware about the permissions, whether SBI will allow or not. I'm not very particularly sure because I'm not into that. Second thing is whether they need not, because we are not using the software in their premises. We are using the software in our laptop or our PC. Okay, and we need not collect the whole of the data. See, you need not collect the whole of the data. If they are not giving data, then the use of Excel is not there, use of Power BI is not there, nothing is there. Okay, only thing possible is you have to take a printout of all of that and you have to randomly check it with the calculator. So therefore sharing of data is, we are anyway being bound by the confidentiality and the non-disclosure kind of a thing. So therefore we are anyway having that. Okay, so I think and I believe that it is our, as an auditor, it is our right to collect the data and it is our duty to preserve the confidentiality. That is how I look at it. And if they are not going to give data, it is not any audit, it is not Excel, it is nothing. And we are not using any application in their systems. Having got it in our PC, we may use it with Excel, we may use it with Power BI. IDEA is one software, the ACL is another software. Okay, any audit is one software. Like that, there are multiple softwares which you can see. Okay, how about P&L section? Yeah, there are questionnaires for profit and loss account also. Okay, there are questionnaires for housekeeping also. There are questionnaires for balance sheet. There are questionnaires for profit and loss account. There are questionnaires for disclosures in the balance sheet. There are questionnaires for interest subvention and all. I just have disclosed the process. Okay, simple thing is, what this application provides you is, you can create your questionnaire or you can borrow the questionnaire what the application provider gives you. You can scope them to that particular question. Okay, even if it is a profit and loss questionnaire or any other questionnaire, say let us say there are particular GLs. So from the GL you are selecting 3 or 4 and there you're putting it to the profit and loss verification questionnaire, and it gives us a chance to fill those questions. Okay, so that it organizes our audit in a methodical manner. Yeah. The internal inspection of head office has been done in February 22 report given. When we ask the manager whether the mistakes rectified, the manager say that they will have time till 60 days is given. Yeah. See, they may have a time to rectify, absolutely taken, correct. But when it comes to LFR, is it a point to disclose or not is our concern. Okay, we are not saying that they must rectify. See, we are not a executive officer of the branch. We are not an executive. We are not CEOs. We are not executive officers. So whether they rectify it or not is not our business. Our business is whether it requires a report in LFR or in any of the annexures of LFR or not. Okay. So our job is to call a fact, to report where it is required. That's it. So that is our job. Okay. So it helps in doing that. So just the balancing report is enough to start. Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. And there is also one more feature. Let me share the screen. Let us say in loans and advances, I have to collect the data. As rightly posed by one of the questions, SBI is not allowing the data to be shared. Okay, so then what I can do? You're able to see my screen, right?
Yes, sir. Your screen is visible right now, sir.
Yeah. Now I'm going to loans and advances section. I'm going to loans and advances section, and I'm going to add a sample or add an item. So I'm entering one particular loan manually. I'm typing the name of the borrower, ABC Limited, sanctioned amount 40,000, 50,000. And once this is loaded, once this is added to this particular item, I will apply a checklist. So I need not capture the whole of the data. If the banker is not allowing me to capture the whole of the data, see, it is a documentation software from our side. It is an audit software. So what it does is it will allow the document to flow from end to end. Okay. So what I can do, I can say account number 4356234. Nobody can stop me writing my own notes in my own laptop. Name of the borrower ABC Limited, sanction amount 44,000, sanction date something else, and I'm saving. I'm not very sure if there are any other mandatory fields. So what I do is I'll anyway add one advance here. So once an advance is added, it will automatically pop up in the advances section. I'm joining from my mobile data, so it's logging off. So I'll add one more record, so it will come and sit here as my next item. I'll select that new item that have been added, and I will scope it to my particular sample, whatever the sample that I want to take. Okay, so I'll go to checklists. In the question in the checklists, they have got assessing the risk, overall independence. So it comes engagement terms of the engagement team, auditor's responsibility in case of fraud and all. So if I take one more item as my sample, and on that particular sample, I can apply my own checklist or my own question. Yeah, you share the screen, man. So certain questions are there. Hello.
Those are the questions compiled, sir. I just shared with you. So if any other question rises, I will share it. I'll let you know, sir. Around 6:45, or is there anything else, sir?
Yeah, fine. So audit is a combination of application of multiple skills and processes, and also the tools. Okay. So when it comes to a tool is something that is applied at our discretion. So it is up to us when to use which tool, to what extent, and to what timing. Okay. By suitable selection of a tool, by tool what I mean is a checklist or a questionnaire or a process or an annexure or a report. These are all the various tools that we do, like a spanner and a hammer and a screwdriver in the hands of a carpenter. Our spanners and hammers are like questionnaires, checklists and all. When we put a questionnaire on particular sample, when we fill them up one by one, it will expose certain more irregularities. Okay. When I'm filling up a questionnaire, can I reroute it to another questionnaire? Absolutely yes. Okay. Like if I do a gold loan, I have filled up. By the answering of that particular gold loan, I tend to feel that the fraud checklist has to be filled. So what I can do, I can right click, reroute it to another questionnaire, select the questionnaire fraud. So like that, when we apply a tool, the tool will lead us from one to the another. Okay, and it is up to us which tool has to be used in which context. Okay. Our analytics will help us upfront, okay, to identify where the problem is likely to be there. It is like finding where to dig. Finding where to dig is not the end of the story. We have to dig actually. And every finding of a potential place where to dig may not result into a negative answer. Okay, so just by my analytics, I felt that there is a rate of interest. It is, if you see, I have already shown the graphical visualization part of it. Some rate of interest are between 7.25 to 7.27, while some are at a very higher rate of interest. So some are at a very lower rate of interest. So I felt that they were given less than the transaction, they were given at than the sanction. But if we click on that, I felt that there was a scheme of head office in the first quarter where a lower rate of interest is permitted. Then what happens? I have to drop my observation. Okay, but then at the same time, I will carry my own hunch, my own way to believe or disbelieve things, and my own way to probe. Okay, so analytics is definitely the gateway, which will let us go into that. But then after that, what to do is our audit document. Okay, and then concluding is a great art. So much as execution is. After execution, we have to complete and we have to compile and we have to see there is a decision making at every step, whether to put an MOC or to raise a matter of emphasis, in a sense, whether to put it in LFR. In terms of banker, LFR is like a matter of emphasis. So it is up to us. These tools, as a session heading goes, sampling, analytics, and documentation tools, planning and execution tools. When we are equipped with the tools, our audit execution time comes down considerably. Okay. Because we cannot do a combing operation. Take one advance, verify, take one advance, verify. With that, we cannot go. Okay. We must definitely shortlist the area, the likeliness, the accounts that are more likely to have gone wrong, and then apply a proper tool to elicit what had gone wrong and then report it. Okay. With that brief, I hand over the control to the chair again. Any questions or any panel discussion or anything there, I'm there around. Thank you.
Is my screen visible to you, sir?
What is that, ma'am?
Is my screen visible to you, sir?
Yeah, screen is visible.
From 14th question we need to take, sir.
Yeah, how to download, sir? I think it is there on the web front page. Go to anyaudit.in. So I think they'll guide you. So the inputting the data in the first instance is by upload of Excel. Okay, when we upload the data in the Excel, what it does is it will. I'll just show that. I'm sharing my screen one more time.
Give you the presenter, right? 1 minute.
Yeah.
So now you can share your screen, sir.
See, when you upload, let us say I'm applying my data into loans and advances. So if you go to this advances, when you say upload the data, it will give you a way to upload your data by choosing a file here. Okay, so if you choose a file, I'm not very sure, this is not my laptop. In fact, I'm at a different place today. Anyway, once you choose a data file, what it does is, if you upload, it will give the columns on an Excel on the right hand side, the columns of the software on the left hand side, so that you have to map them one to one. But I don't think this is a questionnaire file. It is not a proper file to upload. If I get a loans and advance file, then it is it. But how it works is like this. So there is an interface where you can upload the Excel file and it will map the columns. See, the borrower name is there. In particular branch, it may be called a customer name. In particular call, it could be account holder name, whatever. So our Excel file may have multiple column names, but in the software there is a designated column for that, some 10 or 15 columns, or maybe more than that. So what it does is, if you say upload the Excel file, it will give you a window to map. After that, it will get uploaded into the software automatically. That is a way, that is a headway to upload the data in the first place. After that, the analytics will start, the visualization will start, the sample selection, documenting the way the sample is selected. That is very, very important, because in LFAR now we are giving our sample. So that goes without saying that tomorrow we may be called upon to prove how you have selected the sample. Okay, so we have to be very careful with that. The way the sample has to be written has to be documented. The steps that we performed has to be documented. There are some more powerful tool analytical abilities also here. What it can do is, I'll show one small thing. There is one, you're able to see my screen, right? There is one facility of rule making. So in rule making, what you can do is, it is a very powerful utility. If you go to the rules, what you can do, you can write a gold loan sample pickup rule. Okay, even without data. Even without data, you can write a rule upfront. That means you are recording a macro kind of a thing. So where scheme contains gold, where sanctioned amount is more than 50,000, where borrower name contains RAO, RAW or limited or whatever, and you are saving this as a rule. So this becomes my gold loan selection rule. So if you apply the gold loan selection rule, automatically these steps will be programmatically applied over the data and the sample is selected. Okay. So of course, any tool does require some sort of acquaintance or a training kind of a thing. So what it does is, you can write your rule. So that means the execution and the strategizing, the execution and the planning are totally can be handled independently. Okay, so you can go and you can configure your rules straight away. So I'll show one more rule kind of thing. So here I can write a rule, like I can say rule for selection of gold loans. I can write on my loans and advances. I can say rule for quick mark, selection of quick market. So if I write these rule upfront, so if I configure and make the rule upfront, then after going to the branch, I can apply it without any planning over there. I can simply plan here and then, so selection of a quick mortality account. How do I do that? How do I do that? So I can say where the data field is sanctioning date is before, less than, greater than in this particular financial year. Okay, so like that I can build a rule. I can build a rule. So what happens is, having built a rule, this rule can be applied over any given data. Okay, so the same steps will get repeated, iterated on any given sample, on any given data. Of course, needless to say, without data nothing is possible. No Excel, nothing is possible. Okay, yeah, any more questions, ma'am?
My screen visible to you, sir. Like, about the software, like few questions about any.
Yeah. For the software related questions, do visit the front page. I think that is there. I'm more on explaining how to use that.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So 17 question.
Yeah, it works on cloud. It works on cloud. It is not a desktop based application, because I'm typing it on the URL. It is a cloud based application. It sits on cloud. That is why we are able to, multiple people can access it same time. If you say a sample and then give it to 10 people or 5 people in your team, each people will be working on their particular sample. All the sample findings will come to your screen. So whoever is doer, whoever is approver, you can pipeline them. So whoever does, automatically it will come to your screen and you can perform.
So those were the questions compiled right now, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Over to Madhav Saran Kumar, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Prasad Garu. On behalf of SIR, on behalf of SIRC team, I thank Prasad Garu and Saran giving their opinions on the bank audit various tools. Thank you very much, sir, for accepting our invitation and giving lecture to our members. Thank you very much for the session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
Monica,
Yes, sir.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
members.
Thank you. Thank you. Namaste.